Okay, in this video, we will discuss on the life cycle of another very important algae, that is Ectocarpus. Okay, life cycle of Ectocarpus. Now, the systematic position of Ectocarpus, as you can see here, it belongs to the class Phaeophyceae, that is members of brown algae, and it belongs to the other Ectocarpales. These other ectocarpales, they include about 60 genera of brown algae, which are commonly found in cold sea water of the temperate and the polar regions. And also most of the members of this order, they are heterotrichous, and they have two systems in their thallus. That means their thallus body is differentiated into prostrate system and an erect system, where a prostrate system, it functions as a whole fast, as in the case of Edugonium. You have already studied in Edugonium that the whole fast, it helps in the attachment of the body to the substratum. So in the same way, these species which belongs to the other ectocarpales, unlike other algal species, they have prostrate creeping disc which functions as a whole fast, and also they have an erect filamentous system. Now it belongs to the family Ectocarpaceae. Okay, the members of this family, they are characterized by simple heterotrichous thallus organization. And coming to the occurrence of these species, as you can see here that these species, they are cosmopolitan in distribution. That means they are distributed everywhere. They are distributed all over the world, and also they are growing in the littoral as well as supralittoral regions. Now, littorals, they are those regions along the seashore, whereas supralittorals, they are those regions on the coastlines and also on the estuaries. That is those regions that are regularly splashed, but they are not submerged by the ocean water. So these species of Ectocarpus, they are commonly found in these regions. And Ectocarpus is most common along the Atlantic coast than the Pacific coast. And in India, they are found on the western coast, growing epiphytically on sea plants or are attached to rocks. So epiphytic plants, epiphytes are those which grow on another plant. So you can see that some of the species found in India, they are growing epiphytically on other plants. For example, here you can see Ectocarpus coniferus and Ectocarpus breviaticulatus. They grow on other algal species, okay, larger algal species such as Fucus and Laminaria. Whereas another type of species, Ectocarpus fasciculatus, it is an epizoic species. That means they grow on animals. For example, this species, it grows on the fins of certain fishes. And this genus in India, it is represented by about 13 species. And you can see out of these 13 species, these are the common one. Okay, the Ectocarpus coniferus, Ectocarpus indicus, Ectocarpus arabicus, Ectocarpus geminifructus, and also Ectocarpus dermonimatus. These are the common species which are found in India, but about 13 species are found in this country. So coming to the next topic, that is the thallus structure. Okay, the thallus structure of Ectocarpus, as I had already mentioned, it is heterotrichous, and as you can see, it is differentiated into the prostrate system or prostrate rhizoidal system, and an erect system which is also branched. Okay, you can see this is the rhizoidal or the prostrate rhizoidal system, and this is the erect system which is also branched. Now the prostrate system here, it is creeping, and also it is also branched. As you can see, even the prostrate system is branched and is creeping. So the thallus, it remains attached to the substratum with the help of this prostrate system, which acts as a holdfast. And this system is more developed in attached forms. Okay, so in those forms which are attached to the substratum, which are growing on other plants or on fishes, okay, which are epizoic or epiphytic, or those which are attached to rocks to the substratum, the prostrate system is well developed as compared to those which are free living, okay, free floating species, because there are some species of Ectocarpus which are also free floating. So in those free floating species, the prostrate system is not well developed. Okay, it is more developed in the attached forms than in free floating forms. And in some species, as I had mentioned, that the prostrate system is epiphytic, that means it grows within the supporting plant. Okay, so now the erect part of the thallus is usually irregularly branched. As you can see here in this case also, it is irregularly branched, and the branches, they arise just beneath the transverse septa. This one here, you can see just beneath the transverse septa of the cells. Okay, and the filaments, they are several centimeters long. These filaments, they are several centimeters long, and also they are monosiphonous. Okay, just take a look at this single branch here, or this one. You can see they are only one cell thick. Okay, only one cell in thickness. That means monosiphonous. But sometimes these filaments, they may become polysiphonous. That means 2 to 3 cell in thickness, due to the vertical division of the cells. Okay, so in some species, these cells, they have a vertical division, so it gives rise to the filaments may become polysiphonous due to the vertical division of these cells. But as in this case, you can see that it is only one cell in thickness, that means monosiphonous. And in some species, for example, in Ectocarpus granulosus, this the basal parts of the main erect filaments, okay, for example, here in this portion, the basal part of the main erect filament, they become enclosed in a coat. Okay, they become corticated. They become corticated or coated with the cell, okay, by the ascending rhizoidal filaments. Okay, due to the ascending rhizoidal filaments, the basal part of this erect system, it becomes corticated. And whereas the distal part, okay, this, for example, here, this distal part of the erect filament here, or the distal part of each filament, it terminates into mucilaginous hairs, okay, or erect threads. But of course here you cannot see properly. Here, in the distal part of these filaments, of each of these filaments, they terminate into these mucilaginous hairs or erect threads. Okay, so this is about the thallus structure. Now we will discuss on the cell structure of Ectocarpus. Okay, next is the cell structure. So if you take a look at the single cell, okay, the cells, they are rectangular or cylindrical. This is an enlarged picture of a single cell. As you can see, it is rectangular or cylindrical in structure, and the cell wall is differentiated into the outer outer wall and an inner wall. The outer wall is made up of pectin, and the inner wall, you can see it is double wall here. The inner wall is made up of cellulose. So the pectin and cellulose, they are nothing but they are polysaccharides, they are carbohydrates. So just remember that the outer is the cell wall is differentiated into an outer pectic wall and an inner cellulosic layers. And the characteristic gelatinous substance is present in the cell wall. Okay, there is a gelatinous substance which is present in the cell wall, and this gelatinous substance is made up of algin and fucoidin. Algin, ALGIN, algin and fucoidin, these two, also these two substances, they are nothing but they are polysaccharides. Now, just inner to the wall, you can see that a cell membrane is present. Okay, a cell membrane is present which encircles the protoplast. And the protoplast, it contains one central nucleus. Okay, you can see here in this figure, we have one central nucleus and many chromatophores. Okay, many chromatophores are present, and the number and shape of chromatophore, it varies with species. It varies among the different species of Ectocarpus. Some are ribbon shaped, some are band shaped, some are discoid shaped, just like a disc. Okay, discoid shape, and so on. So in this case, we can see it's like a ribbon shape. Now, the photosynthetic pigments which are present in the cells is chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, beta carotene, and fucoxanthin. Just remember, girls, these four types of photosynthetic pigments are present in the cell, where the fucoxanthin, it masks the chlorophyll, and it is this one which gives the characteristic brown coloration. That is why these species of algae, they are referred to as Phyophyceae, or the brown algae. Okay, their brown coloration is due to the presence of fucoxanthin. It is this fucoxanthin which imparts the brown color to these species. And the cytoplasm, it contains many vacuoles. Many vacuoles are present in the cytoplasm, and these vacuoles, they are referred to as the physotes. Okay, and the physotes, they contain polyphenols and probably function as lysosomes. Okay, these vacuoles which are present in the cytoplasm, they function as lysosomes. And as I have already mentioned that the species of this Ectocarpus, okay, let me show you again. If you remember that we have two types of filaments, right? Two types of plant body. What is that? The haploid filaments and the diploid filaments. So morphologically, as I had already mentioned, that both the haploid and diploid filaments, they are almost alike. They are identical morphologically. But the cells of the haploid filaments, they are usually comparatively shorter in length than the diploid filaments. Diploid meaning having 2n number of chromosomes, and haploid meaning having n number of chromosomes. So these two, they are similar, they are alike morphologically, but then the only difference is that these for example, these 2n, okay, the diploid filaments, they are much longer in length, whereas when you see the haploid filaments, they are usually much shorter in length. And the growth of this the growth of these filaments, is the nature of growth, it varies with the region of the plant body. That means the growth in the prostrate system is different. Okay, in the diploid filament is different, in the haploid filament is different. So it varies with the region of the plant body, and also it differ from one species to another species. Now, this intercalary system, this erect system, this upper portion, the erect system, it usually shows intercalary growth. Intercalary meaning the growth within these cells, okay, between these cells. So these cells may be dividing to give the growth. They may be divide further and further, and that is referred to as the intercalary growth. Okay, the growth in between the cells. Or it can be diffuse. Diffuse growth is that type of growth where the cell will enlarge. Okay, it will enlarge, it will swell and enlarge and elongate. Okay, so that type of growth is diffuse. Or it may be trichothalic growth. Now, trichothalic growth is that type of growth in algae, especially these type of brown algae or phyophyceae, where the growth it occurs only in the specialized type of cells. Okay, the specialized type of cells, and those cells may be present near the base or anywhere, but they are only the specialized type of the intercalary cells. So three types of growth can occur in the erect part. Okay, in this erect system, the growth can be intercalary, diffuse, or trichothalic. Whereas in this prostrate system, actually the growth is uh, apical. That means the tip, the apical tip, the apical tip of the prostrate system, the growth will occur in the apical region. Okay, that means in the apical region the growth will occur. The cells will divide and further develop to form a major plant body. So just remember that in the prostrate system the growth is apical, whereas in the erect system the growth can be of three types: intercalary, diffuse, or trichothalic. So in the next class we will discuss on the different types of reproduction in ecto